Good afternoon. I'm Vicki Rosser, professor from the Department of Educational Psychology and Higher Education and chair of the UNLV Faculty Senate. Thank you for joining us for the annual State of the University Address. I'd like to welcome our Board of Regents, Chancellor Melody Rose, and Chief of Staff Andrew Klinger, all from the Nevada System of Higher Education. I'd also like to thank our distinguished guests and community members who are watching, as well as students, staff, faculty, and our alumni. The current academic year has been perhaps most challenging in our 64-year history. In spite of budget cuts, a hiring freeze, and a pandemic that impacted our physical and emotional well-being, UNLV faculty, classified and support staff, along with the administration, remain focused on our mission to serve our community and to provide an educated workforce. The needs of the students and the citizens of our state are best served by a strongly supported investment in research as the foundation of that education. Through research, students develop ethical and critical thinking expertise, as well as effective analytical and communication skills. Research helps us to seek the truth, to solve our social or scientific problems, and to find meaning in our lives through creative activities. Most important, research will become a critical element to help guide Nevada's economic recovery. We are grateful for the support from our governor, Nevada State Legislature, and all our generous donors, and hope they will continue to invest in our commitment to research excellence as the cornerstone of UNLV, both for the benefit of our students and for the people of the entire state. Our leader in this mission, Dr. Keith E. Whitfield, is a highly esteemed scholar and researcher. He is the 11th president of UNLV and former provost and senior vice president of academic affairs and a professor of psychology at Wayne State University. He received a BA in psychology from the College of Santa Fe and MA and PhD degrees in lifespan development psychology from Texas Tech University, and did postdoctoral work in quantitative genetics at the University of Colorado, Boulder. President Whitfield is a champion of student and faculty success, innovation and entrepreneurship, and interdisciplinary research. His broad higher education experience includes developing programs and institutional policies that promote social and economic equity and financial stability. He has also devoted a considerable amount of time to faculty development, particularly for junior scholars. Dr. Whitfield remains an active scholar. His research examines the etiology of individual variation in health and individual differences in cognition due to health conditions. Dr. Whitfield works with researchers from Sweden, Russia, Finland, and the United States. He has been continuously funded researcher for more than 20 years through NIA, NIH, and NSF, with projects totaling more than 18 million, and has authored or co-authored over 200 articles, books, and book chapters. His current research project focuses on the relationship between stress and longevity in African American families in North Carolina. It has been my privilege to work closely with President Whitfield over the last several months and during a very, very unique academic year. He has kept us on track to what is most important, the success of our students. UNLV is very fortunate that President Whitfield was willing to take on the enormous task of leading this university and keeping us moving forward in a positive direction. He is a warm and caring individual, strategic thinker, and an avid champion for UNLV. Please join me in thanking and welcoming our President of UNLV, Dr. Keith E. Whitfield, for the State of the University Address. President Whitfield.
Thank you so much, Vicki. I'd also like to thank the entire Faculty Senate for your support since my arrival at UNLV last August. I hold shared governance as critical to great universities, and you and your colleagues are the epitome of that philosophy. And special thanks to former President Marta Biana for all her support and work. Well, hello, colleagues, students, alumni, supporters, and dignitaries. Wow, what a year we've just completed. I've been in higher education for more than 3 decades, and I cannot recall a more challenging time. Maybe everyone can say that, particularly in 2020, but these are unusual times for sure. I've never shied away from a challenge, though nor has the university. They say that smooth seas don't make skillful sailors. I'm so proud of how UNLV faculty, staff, students, and administrators pulled together, adjusted, and successfully fulfilled our mission during a tumultuous past year. While this period has been unconventional and disruptive at times, we've persevered and risen to the occasion. I know it's not been easy, whether you've been working from home, teaching remotely, or working on campus. Thank you for your passion and dedication to supporting and pursuing higher education. And it's just further reinforces my decision to come to this great university. UNLV is uniquely positioned for long-term success. Now, that doesn't mean that there's not work to do or that we're perfect. But there's so much good here, and so much has been achieved over the last several years. My job, along with all of you, is to build on that success, to make what's already great even better. Nationally, this past year has generated much discussion about how higher education will evolve and how it will emerge from this pandemic. I believe public urban research universities like ours are the pillars that will support the future of higher education. We have the ability to weather the so-called 2026 cliff of declining enrollments better than most of our counterparts. That's because we draw from a large centralized population base, and it's more than that. Public urban research universities are situated in major metropolitan areas and have more opportunities to develop partnerships and become integrated into economic and community issues. And we're seeing that firsthand here at UNLV. As the university recently ranked within the top 10% for social mobility for our graduates, this index by CollegeNet rates all 4-year U.S. colleges and universities based on how they effectively enroll students from under-resourced backgrounds and graduate them into well-paying jobs. Simply put, UNLV provides an opportunity for people to change their lives and the lives of their families. We also help address community issues, and there's perhaps no better example of that than the COVID-19 pandemic. And the role the university has played and is playing and will play to support the region and the state. This includes both fighting the virus and helping pull the state from the economic downturn. Nearly every college and school at UNLV has been involved, from the arts to the sciences, and this is especially true of our schools of public health, nursing, medicine, integrated health sciences, dental medicine, and the colleges of education and sciences. As well as the Student Wellness Center and the practice, we've partnered with the state of Nevada, Clark County, Southern Nevada Health District, University Medical Center, Clark County School District, and the business community at large to manage, mitigate, monitor, and navigate COVID-19. Our efforts have included counseling, contact tracing, testing, and now vaccinating. Creating test files and personal protective equipment have also been some of our efforts. Offering services to emergency responders, serving as first responders or healthcare support staff, and tutoring young children while their parents are working. Our schools of medicine opened one of the first testing locations during the earliest days of the pandemic. And now they and the School of Nursing are helping lead the effort to vaccinate many in our community. The same is true for our School of Public Health, which has trained 200 students through a grant from the state to perform much needed contact tracing, and epidemiologist Brian Labus has provided critical counseling as a member of the Governor's Advisory Committee. These are perfect examples of how our university can build community within Las Vegas. It means being a resource, applying our expertise, and partnering to address issues in the community where we all live and work. Building a community also has an inward focus. As many of you are aware, I spent a good portion of time on a listening tour during my first few months on the job. I wanted to hear what our faculty, staff, students, and community members think about UNLV. I learned how truly dedicated people are at UNLV and how great this university is. But I also heard some frustration, some sadness, and some anger. There's now a summary of those conversations posted on the website. Building a community which actively ensures that everyone on campus feels welcome and heard is an area of concentration for university leadership. We will continue to acknowledge and address cultural issues at our university. Cultural, though, sounds like a giant amalgamation of colleges and departments with faceless leaders. I would argue that interpersonal interactions that happen between students and their instructors, how faculty talk to other faculty, how administrative or professional staff interact with classified staff, or even how vice presidents or deans treat their staff and faculty, and their university president, of course. We need to develop a culture that is more equitable and fair, one that's more inclusive, and one where everyone feels like they have the same opportunity or at least an equal voice to be heard. We need to feel comfortable having these discussions and not become defensive, irritable, threatened, or scared. It means that we need to have grace. Grace, in part, is admitting when we're wrong and allowing others to admit when they're wrong in a non-threatening and safe space. When we create that culture and when we come together in this way, we can achieve great, ambitious goals. It's only then that we can build a campus community that's fully healthy and flourishing. Now, it won't happen quickly, and we'll never be perfect. We do, however, need to strive to be better, to do better, and not to punish ourselves when we make mistakes. I want us to set our sights high as a university. We cannot limit ourselves to only what we've seen or fear what we've not yet done or tried before. We have to imagine a better place. Now, failure is always a real possibility, and it's only human to try to avoid it. But fear of failure limits our ability to do great things. It makes us believe we are limited by what we see and how we are at this moment. I challenge us not to fear what we are yet to be. We need to embrace change because it makes us better. I'm often reminded that I'm the first Black president in the 64-year history of this university. The fact that you hired me means that we can change. I believe that the regents, the faculty, and students supported my nomination because they saw the content of my character, not just the color of my skin. And while I'm the first, I certainly hope that I'm not the last. We have to direct our focus on how we are making change for the betterment of all our students, your coworkers, and your fellow faculty. We need to dream of an even greater university over the next decade. 5 years ago, this university embarked on a top-tier journey that would elevate the university to be recognized as a top public research university in the country. Related conversations started decades ago and continued until they crystallized into a functional plan capturing critically important goals to set our sights on. I have great respect for my predecessors and to the faculty and others who have dedicated precious time, energy, and resources to move that vision forward. We have made remarkable progress on our journey. And in December of 2018, the university achieved a major milestone when it was recognized as a Carnegie R1 or Very High Research University, the gold standard among colleges and universities. Only 3% of colleges and universities in the country are included in the Carnegie R1 ranking. So it's bolstered the reputation and brand of UNLV. And in early 2020, we earned Carnegie's highest measure for community engagement, also a remarkable feat. But these achievements are only the beginning of what we can accomplish. Listening to you and seeing what we have here there's more we can do, more we should do, and more we plan to do. We continually evaluate our top-tier plans, and I believe it's time to expand the plan's related vision and mission. I refer to this as Top Tier 2.0. It's the next evolution of our aspiration to become an even greater university, or as I say, making great better. Top Tier 2.0 is rooted in the original plan and still recognizes the importance of our key metrics around retention, graduation rates, research expenditures, doctoral degrees granted, non-faculty researchers and postdocs, and community impact. However, it also defines additional metrics in the existing core areas and includes new core goals as well. Top Tier 2.0 is a forward-looking roadmap that our university will continue to refine and follow over the next decade. With respect to student achievement, we've made marked progress over the last several years, but we need to continue to press onward and keep aiming high. Notably, I would like to see our current 6-year graduation rate increase to 60% by 2030. It's a 16-point jump from our current level. To help get us there, we'll launch a student success initiative that includes our ongoing efforts to improve our advisor-to-student ratio from 1 advisor for each 515 students to 1 in 350. We'll also do some national benchmarking, defining best practices, and host a university-wide summit to get everyone engaged on this critical goal. Student success will become an element of relevant leadership evaluations. I should note that graduate student success is integral to this expanded core goal. We need to bolster research, scholarship, and creativity to 1, include multiple inter and cross-disciplinary programs, 2, create more interdisciplinary centers and institutes, and 3, increase research and research productivity in STEM and beyond. And lastly, 4, provide student research opportunities at all levels. At this time, I want to take a moment to highlight a couple of research faculty from the College of Sciences who were included in Science Magazine's top 10 breakthroughs of all of 2020. Physicist Ashkan Salamat's work on room temperature superconductivity and astrophysicist Bing Zhang's observation of fast radio bursts or powerful radio waves coming from deep space. In fact, Governor Steve Sisolak mentioned Ash's superconductivity work in his State of the State address last week and referenced how it translates to energy efficiency and economic diversification. I can honestly say my research has never been called out by a governor in a State of the State address. Wow, Ash, that's really impressive. Congratulations to you and Bing for your contributions to the science community and for strengthening the UNLV brand. The Academic Health Center also has been a core goal outlined in the original top-tier strategic plan, and will build a stronger structure to support its development, as well as a process to identify timelines, milestones, and major benchmarks over the next 20 years to meet our long-term vision. The Academic Health Center is not a building, but a strategy that integrates and leverages the multiple health science disciplines at UNLV to provide high value and high quality care for the community and medical research opportunities. It will also provide a key source of economic diversity for our economy. We must continue to foster community partnerships, and that includes strengthening and expanding our relationships with the Clark County School District for K through 12 and with CSN. If first-time freshmen or transfer students are better prepared to have stronger skills when entering UNLV, they'll make the transition more easily and have greater success. One recent initiative in this area is the Rebel Summer Series, which our College of Education introduced last year. It's a 5-week summer learning opportunity for local students in grades 2 through 5 that offers web-based courses and activities in science and literacy. Community partnerships must also include civic engagement. Our community needs to help address the homeless issue and food insecurity that many, including some of our students, experience. The work of the Greenspun College of Urban Affairs with the Las Vegas Sands and Nevada Partnership for Homeless Youth to conduct research and develop policy. Addressing this issue is a perfect illustration of how we can make a difference Faculty and students in social work, criminal justice, public policy and leadership, and communication studies are all involved in carrying out this program. Similar efforts are occurring with the city and county as well. And now for the new core goals in Top Tier 2.0. Economic development will have a more front and center role. We'll pull economic development from its previous shared pathway goal with community partnerships to distinguish its importance while also broadening its scope. It will become an independent core goal to stimulate socioeconomic development. This signifies that we are engaging in these efforts for all people, in all sectors, in all classes, and in all neighborhoods. Socioeconomic development includes a focus on the research park, strengthening industry engagement, and advancing entrepreneurship and innovation. Faculty and students must be active participants for us to move forward on this goal, because strong universities are vital to the economic recovery, development, and sustainability of Southern Nevada. This is our home, and I've seen the commitment you all have to help it thrive. The other new core goal is to promote and support a culture of social justice, equity, and inclusion. Previously, our top-tier values have alluded to these, but bringing this focus to the forefront and further defining expectations will create actionable items. We will cultivate an environment that is inclusive, welcoming, and supportive for all by assessing and developing conditions necessary for improvement. That includes things like leadership accountability and assessment, programming to address unintentional bias in search committees, faculty and staff mentoring programs to promote success and emphasizing a culture and platforms where all faculty, staff, and students can be heard. Well-known researchers Lee Bowman and Terrence Deal address culture in their work on reframing organizations. It's perhaps the most difficult area for an organization to change. And I know that this new goal may generate some anxiety, maybe even some skepticism. However, we need to realize our deficiencies and acknowledge there is inherent structural racism at this university. We're not unique in that regard. Most organizations have some element of it. And in most cases, structural racism is unintentional, and it may be something as mundane as policies and practices that impact people differently. Some may ask, what does this have to do with graduating students? But if we're going to reach the next level, we need to realize and understand that this is a challenge that needs to be addressed at UNLV too. And as a major public research university that has one of the most diverse undergraduate student bodies in the country, we should be a leader in this area. It begins with not being afraid to discuss it and making it a priority. Earlier this week, the Faculty Senate had an honest, difficult conversation about issues with diversity and inclusion at UNLV. I applaud their insight and desire to make changes for a better university environment among faculty and staff. I'll be working with them to refine more definite goals in this area. Some of the programming and professional development opportunities we need to offer already exist. The UNLV College of Liberal Arts offices of diversity initiatives and student diversity and social justice, in partnership with the Anti-Defamation League and the Interfaith Council of Southern Nevada, launched a series last spring that addressed the effects of racism on public health, indigenous and land justice, and issues of the First Amendment. UNLV Libraries and the College of Urban Affairs also developed a panel discussion about race-related media coverage, economics, healthcare, criminal justice, and education. Both series continue in February during Black History Month. The Anti-Black Racism Task Force and the Minority Serving Institution, or MSI Task Force, continue to do work in this area as well. These are important steps forward. We will cultivate and develop more. Finally, in Top Tier 2.0, we will continue to develop our infrastructure while ensuring shared governance remains at the heart of all that we do. But we will also strategically deepen the culture of philanthropy and alumni connection to bolster our financial sustainability. Philanthropy is so important to continued growth and success as a university because it provides the ability to support students, launch new ideas, and to make already great programs even better. 3 of the many recent examples include a $9 million gift from the San Manuel Band of Mission Indians to work with our law and hospitality programs to develop first-of-its-kind programs in tribal gaming law. A $6 million commitment to advance brain health through the Chambers-Grundy Center for Transformative Neuroscience, and a $5 million gift from Panda Express co-founders Andrew and Peggy Chung for the nation's first academic program in casual restaurant management. Now, some of these strategies will require organizational shifts. First, as you may have seen earlier this month, I've elevated the position of economic development to vice president, and that function will be separated out from the research division. Now is the time to make this move because economic development and diversification will be critical for the state and the region as we emerge from the pandemic. Second, the position of Chief Diversity Officer will report directly to me, and I'm reviving the Ombuds Office. Both of these directives are designed to provide a more defined avenue for faculty, staff, and students to voice their concerns or issues. Lastly, we will move forward with creating a Vice President for Health Affairs that will advance collaboration among the health sciences schools and ensure the vision, mission, operations, and healthcare services are all strategically aligned. I realize that this may all sound aggressive given the times that we're in. One of the things that you'll frequently hear from me say is that we need to make a dollar out of 15 cents. I know how difficult the budget situation has been at times, and several of you have mentioned that we still haven't fully recovered from the Great Recession of 2008. I spent the better part of 3 decades in higher education, and I know that budgets are always a challenge for public urban research universities. We have been fortunate, though, that our enrollment has held fairly steady during this pandemic, and we must be prepared to capitalize on and be a part of the economic recovery. Our focus for the Nevada State Legislature this upcoming session will be on economic development and how we can support the state and our partnerships with the Clark County School District and K-12 education. We also want to reinforce the importance of the Medical Education Building and the College of Engineering Building. I am so appreciative to Governor Sisolak for including these capital projects in his proposed budget for the next biennium. It's a bold decision during unprecedented times. I would expect nothing less from our governor, and we will demonstrate that investing in UNLV is good for everyone. It's been a busy 5 months, and I can't stop thinking morning, day, and night about all the opportunities at UNLV. I came here because I have tremendous respect for this university and each one of you. But no one individual can move this university. It takes a collective effort from all of us, and we need to realize that we may fail at times along the way. But don't be afraid of failure. Learn from it, build on it, and grow from it. I won't get upset if we fail periodically trying something new, only if we don't try at all. We can't have the attitude because we've always done it that way. These times require more innovative and entrepreneurial thinking than ever before. Now, rebels aren't afraid to fail or create a new path when one doesn't exist. I was drawn to this university because I identified with that spirit, that determination, that daring style. We are all unconventional, independent, tenacious, and resilient. That's a rebel. Our university, our community, our society has changed. We need to be thoughtful and to evaluate, adjust, and evolve. The decision announced last week to formally retire the Hey Reb mascot is an example. I recognize the different viewpoints on this topic, but we listened, we learned, and we made a thoughtful decision, even if everyone doesn't agree. As UNLV continues to rise as a top public research university, we must do so in a way that represents all of our students, staff, and faculty. My aspiration is for UNLV to become a premier research university that's community-focused and world-leading. A place where people from all socioeconomic groups and backgrounds can thrive. A university that's caring, but practical. A university that hears all voices and has a rich culture. A university where ideas and opportunities live. In closing, I've learned the power of people can move mountains. Change can happen, but it's in your hands. We can be more successful. We can graduate more students. We can obtain more grants. We can do better in our neighborhood and our community. We can make great even better, but it takes all of us to get there. Thank you for your dedication, your ideas, and your continued hard work.